If your older parents/grandparents are suddenly acting strange, get them checked for a UTI. In older people, UTI can cause a psychotic or delusional episode. What golden nugget of information do you have to share? In the center courtyard of the Pentagon, you don't have to salute superior officers. It's a recreation/lunch area, and you'd basically spend the whole time saluting. So it's not required there. Source: my uncle, a Navy corpsman, who currently works at the Pentagon. Stonehenge, the world's most famous henge, isn't actually a henge. A henge is a Neolithic earthworks, oval or circular in shape, sometimes containing wooden or stone structures and surrounded by a perimeter of a bank with internal ditch. So the famous stones of Stonehenge aren't even a necessary part of a henge, just an optional extra. But more importantly, the bank and ditch at Stonehenge are the wrong way round to make it an official henge. So, Stonehenge isn't a henge. However, the earliest recorded use of the word henge is in reference to Stonehenge. So non-henge, Stonehenge, despite not being a henge, is the thing all other henges are named after. If you don't have a toilet plunger and you've clogged it up, pour in a bit of dish soap and some hot water, the hotter the better. Let's stand for 15 minutes and flush. Learned this when immediately upon arriving at our hotel. My 8-year-old clogged up our toilet and I Googled. Found this gem, realized I'd packed a tiny travel bottle of dish soap, warmed water up in the microwave, and lo and behold, it worked. I still use it sometimes at home when I don't want to be grossed out by plunging. Yes, my child has a tendency to clog toilets. So there you go. Horses have a massive blind spot on the front and back of their body. If you are ever around a tame horse, keep a hand on their body while walking around them. This lets it know where you are at all times and decreases chances of kicking out of shock or fear. This also prevents them from kicking you with as much force. You need to stay very close to them for the full benefit. This is similar with goats, as they instinctively fight things coming head-on and should be approached from the sides. Also, ears are the gateway to a horse's feelings. Pinned back ears indicates an anxious or angered horse. Pinned straight up indicates curiosity and focus. I remember I went on a school trip to Normandy for a few days. We went down on the beaches and our teacher told us to have a piggyback race from the shore to the cliffs. Was so tough and so far. The piggyback was to replicate the weight of someone's full kit. Plus the fact that we didn't have machine gun fire or artillery or barbed wire or mines to worry about. Can't even imagine how insane it was. One of my friend's great-great-grandfather fought at Gallipoli in WWI, and he would have to sometimes sprint up 45 deg inclines with a full kit, while shooting his rifle at the enemy while also being shot at by machine gun fire. He ended up being wounded by friendly artillery in one of the battles and almost lost his leg and half of his forearm. He got sent home. In a way, he counted himself lucky, because the next battle his company would fight in was at the Battles of the Neck, and almost all of those he fought beside were slaughtered as they charged the Turkish trenches. And only 55% of Anzacs returned from Gallipoli. For a garment to be labeled Made in USA, the process only needs to be started and finished in America. In the case of a certain ladies' underwear line, the material is cut in USA, shipped overseas for assembly, then shipped back to America where a seamstress sews a Made in USA tag on the item. Source/underwear factory worker. 9 months before Rosa Parks refused to move to the back of the bus, a 15-year-old called Claudette Colvin refused to give up her seat. 2 police officers arrested her. Colvin says that civil rights leaders didn't think a teen, especially one with a very dark complexion, would be a good poster child for their movement. Airline ops guy here. If you check in a bag at an airport with an hour or less before departure, it has a 50/50 shot of making it on the plane. Just like the TSA line, bag security can back up too. I regularly see 30+ minute in screening statuses on bags. Then it may be pulled for a hand screening and search. This is random and SOD doesn't care when the flight leaves. So now we are at about 25 minutes to departure and your bag has only just now entered the sort system. It will take another 5-10 minutes to sort out to the person who loads carts with bags. Here the problem is that there may be 7-10 other flights coming off of the same conveyor belt. They have to see your bag's tag out of maybe 50 other bags, so let's assume another 5 minutes. Your flight's bag cart was delivered plainside at an hour before departure. It is now 15 minutes to departure. The bag room has seen your bag and has it on the back of a tug racing to the plane. 7 minutes before departure, the baggage compartments are closed and total weights are being submitted. Your bag has missed the airplane. I had a heart transplant 5 years ago. When your heart is replaced, the surgeon has to cut the main nerve that gets the signal from the brain to beat, and or increase the intensity of the beat. Without this vagus nerve, your new heart has no regulation and pumps blood out of habit. You no longer have a fight or flight response, and your new heart beats at 90+ beats a minute. The concept of 3 square meals a day is a diet designed for people working physical labor in the early 1900s. Quality of diet and sticking to daily calorie limits is the only part that really matters. Otherwise, it really doesn't matter what time you eat, although the 3 square meals model is indeed advantageous for day-long maintenance of energy levels. Basically, it's better to just eat when you're hungry than force yourself to eat when you should, so long as you're getting the proper nutrients, etc. Newly registered nurse working on hematology ward and learned that stem cells smell like sweet corn. Edit. Thank you all for the upvotes, award, and heaps of useful info. Mentioned by a few in the thread, I believe it's the preservative solution that they're kept in that smells and not the actual cells themselves. My colleague also mentioned this when I asked about the smell. But thank you all for a very interesting thread. I work front desk at a hotel. I've seen this before, so I hope it's new to someone. Don't use sites like Expedia, etc. If you book directly with the hotel, you can always call to make changes. If you need to cancel, you can avoid the 24-hour window fee by changing your reservation to a few days later. Then call back the next day to cancel. Third-party booking sites are not easy to change info. We cannot change the rate if something needs to be fixed, and you are looked down upon and get whatever basic rooms are available. Not by me personally, but everyone around me. The gray rock treatment is an incredibly useful method of dealing with narcissists and toxic people. If such a person is going at you verbally or behaviorally, screaming or posturing or trying to fight, become like a gray rock in a river. No reaction, don't answer, no movement, just sit calmly and let the stream of crazy flow past you. Bonus points if you can stare blankly. When people thrive on causing a reaction, they absolutely cannot compute when they get no reaction. If you're in physical danger, obviously react to keep yourself safe, but don't argue, explain, or defend verbally. You'll never change a narcissist's mind. It's just walking on a treadmill. Obviously not foolproof. Keep yourself safe first and foremost. Edit. OMG. Thanks for the awards. I'm very humbled! Edit #2. So many people have correctly pointed out that with people prone to physical violence, gray rocking can make them angry enough to escalate. Please evaluate your situation and the abusive party, and use whatever tools are necessary to protect yourself. I once did this with a narcissist ex. Just sat blankly. After they calmed down, they sat facing a different direction. My nose was runny due to allergies, so I got the sniffles. Sniffle, sniffle again. My ex turned around with this strange smile on their face. They thought I was crying. When they realized I was perfectly composed, they became bewildered. The most awful smile on their face for that one moment. Edit. Thank you for the hug. I'm still struggling with belief that I deserve hugs. Thanks, stranger, made my day. Goodness out there. I accidentally discovered this a couple of days ago. I work in healthcare, and for the past several weeks we've had an increasing number of people frustrated with the pandemic, complaining about wearing a mask, being allowed to go some places but not others, etc. I had tried to explain flattening the curve, keeping numbers in the ICU manageable, using logic and science to explain the why behind the stay-at-home orders. I convinced exactly 0 people and only aggravated myself. Yesterday I was just tired, so when patients came in complaining about the situation, I just didn't say anything and let them vent their spleen. Eventually they stopped talking and changed the subject on their own. Edit. Thanks for the award. But I'm no hero. And to be clear, I was only referring to the complainers. I do get a decent number of people who genuinely want to know what's going on and why, and I always take the time to explain it to them as best I can.